Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is ZEU2311. So for today, I would like to talk about the topic of COVID-19 pandemic. As we all might already know, the COVID-19 pandemic has infected all of us. The results of the pandemic, however, depend on our condition as people and as citizens of society. The effects are distinct. So now, I would like to ask Fahimanik, what are your thoughts about the COVID-19 pandemic?
My name is Muhammad Fahimani, and my talk about COVID-19 pandemic. On March 11, 2020, WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic confirmed. The next day, my school was shut down and everything is different. My family quickly left home for the grocery store to stock up in preparation for staying home, and so many people out and about similarly stocking up. The food quickly disappeared off the shelves. Cleaning supplies were being purchased as fast as store workers could restock the shelves, and non-perishable food were being purchased by the shopping cart. If I was not scared before the statistic and the WHO declaration now I certainly am. I am scared now. I'm too found myself buying high quantities of supplies, strongly chased by fear from my surroundings. I even travel to and from the grocery store in a grab car, in attempt to minimize any possible exposure from using public transport. When I returned home, my computer screen was full of content about the increasing number of cases of COVID-19, the isolating impact on society, the ravaging of the financial markets, and states of emergency declared by different organizations and sovereignties. How could one not be scared? In my own home, supposedly safe and isolated from the outside pandemic, I have become increasingly scared. At the same time, I understand that government officials and scientists alike are diligently working to understand and act accordingly. I am aware of all their hard work. For me, it has been comforting to know and see these individuals step forward and share their progress and optimism around this situation. Knowledge dissemination is especially crucial during this time, not only to share progress and hopefully expedite it, but also to ease many people around the world who are gripped by fear and are awaiting any positive or hopeful news. I am scared, but I can be less scared with increased communication. I declare no competitive interest. So, Isalena, how about yours? Talk about COVID-19.
Yes, I agree with you. It will never be easy, but however, we still have to cope with such situation. And as for my thought, I think our life have been influenced by the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of us face problems which can be challenging adulting in adults or children and trigger intense emotions. Action in public health, such as social separation, is needed to minimize COVID-19 spread. But it can also make you feel isolated and alone and can increase stress or anxiety. Many have lost their jobs or work less hours due to the enormity and the global shutdown of this pandemic. The feeling of normality has reversed. The confusion about what will happen and in the new future will be a problem for us. Many parents must educate their children who used to be in schools or in kindergarten care. Some people find it difficult to find out how to afford rent or buy food because they feel like the companies or professions that have been developing for years are meaningless. Some people have health problems that can make them concerned about capturing the virus and can feel vulnerable. What about you, Fahimani? In this pandemic era, do you think that online schooling is effective as in class education?
In this pandemic era, it is not surprising that in-person courses are, on average, more effective. Being in person with teachers and other students creates social pressure and benefit that can help motivate students to engage. Some students do as well in our online courses as in-person courses. Some may actually do better, but on average, students do worse in the online setting. And this is particularly true for students with a weaker academic background. Students who struggle in person classes are likely to struggle even more online. While the research on virtual schools education doesn't address these differences directly, a study of college students that I'm studying right now on Unicel, University Selangor at Bestari Jaya, found very little difference in learning for high-performing students in the online and in-person setting. On the other hand, lower-performing students perform meaningfully worse in online courses than in in-person courses. But just because students who struggle in person classes are even more likely to struggle online doesn't mean that's inevitable. Online teachers will need to consider that need of less engaged students and work to engage them. Online courses might be made to work for these students on average, even if they have not in the past. Just like in brick and mortar classroom, online courses need strong curriculum and strong pedagogical practices. Teachers need to understand what students know and what they don't know, as well as how to help them learn new material. What is different in the online setting is that students may have more distraction and less oversight, which can reduce their motivation. That teacher will need to set norms for engagement, such as requiring students to regularly ask questions and respond to their peers that are different than the norms in the in-person setting. Online courses are generally not as effective as in-person classes, but they are certainly better than no classes. A substantial research-based developed by Carl Alexander at Johns Hopkins University and many others show that students, especially students with few resources at home, learn less when they are not in school. Right now, virtual courses are allowing students to access lessons and exercises and interact with teachers in a way that would have been impossible if an epidemic had closed school even a decade or two earlier. So we may be skeptical of online learning, but it's also time to embrace and improve it. So in other way, I would like to ask you, Izaliana, how can parents take a good care of their children's mental health?
For me, children away from their education and stay at home will have a lot of concerns about the epidemic and will look to their parents or caregivers for answers. Not every child and parent reacts in the same manner to stress. So, children can have fear, depression, social alienation, and an oppressive atmosphere that may affect their mental health in the short or even a long term. Some common changes in children's behavior can be excessive crying, annoying behavior, increased sadness, depression, or even worry. Difficulties with concentration and attention, changes or they even avoid activities that they enjoyed in the past. Unexpected headaches and pain throughout their bodies and even changes in eating habits could be one of it too. So, in order to help compensate for adverse behaviors, parents have to stay calm. Be careful in dealing with the situation and address all questions of the child in the best way. Parents can take some time to discuss the COVID-19 outbreak and share encouraging statistics, figures, and even details with their children. Parents will have to motivate them to make themselves comfortable in their own homes and to partake in healthier activities, including indoors athletics and some physical and even psychological workouts. Parents can also build a home routine to keep their kids up to date. Parents should be less stressful or anxious at home when children experience and sense negative energy from their parents. For your information, parent participation of their children in healthier behavior will contribute to reducing tension and anxiety and alleviating the general condition. Anyway, I've been wondering, and I think you can answer this question well. I just want to know, how do students manage their online classes at home? Isn't it hard for them?
So, how do students manage their online classes at home? First thing first, students need to stay social. Online students or universities make it easy to immerse yourself in your education, so much that you may forget or put off keeping in touch with family and friends. Be sure not to isolate yourself when pursuing your diploma online or degree online. Staying social, even just making a phone call, is one of the easiest stress management techniques to incorporate into your day. Secondly, get enough sleep. Teaching yourself how to manage stress begins with something simple: getting enough sleep, which means getting enough sleep. A good night's sleep is critical not only for online learning success, but for keeping your stress level manageable. The National Sleep Foundation recommends 7 to 9 hours of sleep for both young adults between 18 years old till 25 years old and 26 years old till 64 years old. Number 3, the exercise. We need to do exercise. Exercise may not always easily fit into your schedule because students nowadays have complex schedules. Regardless of whether you are earning your degree or diploma online or just overly busy, but it time tested way to manage stress for a reason. Example like it works. Even a brisk 10-minute walk can boost endorphins, which means your body feels good, neuromuscular, improve your mood and more. It's stress management technique that not only good for online students, it's good for your body and mind as well. So I want to ask you again, how I can cope, or how can I cope with the stress and anxiety? Actually, I'm experiencing it because of the pandemic. Can you explain?
Good question. So, in this frightening time, you should at least understand your anxiety. We're in the midst of worldwide pandemic, so with many places at least partially shut down, there are others struggling to reopen safely. So some of us are in areas where the coronavirus infection rates are getting worse day by day. Others are bracing for what may come next, and all of us are watching the headlines and wondering, when is it going to end, right? For many people, the uncertainty surrounding coronavirus is the hardest thing to handle. We still don't know exactly how we will be impacted, how long this will last, or how bad things might get. And that makes it all too easy to catastrophize and spiral out into overwhelming dread and panic. But there are also many things you can do even in the face of this unique crisis to manage your anxiety and could be also fears. So, can I know how you sum things up, Faimani?
So, to sum things up, the COVID-19 pandemic is challenging us in a way we could never have imagined. From unprecedented amount of family times to homeschooling to working remotely or not working at all. These sudden rapid changes in the way we live, coupled with uncertainty, can feel overwhelming. While we may know that it's helpful for everyone to stay positive, it's sometimes easier than before. So that's all for me. Thank you.
So, if you ask me to sum things up, I would like to say by understanding the effects of the COVID-19 outbreak on the mental health of various population are as important as understanding its clinical features, terminations pattern, and management. Also, we can spend time with family members, including children and elderly people. Involvement in different health exercises and sport activities. Following a schedule, or we can call it as routine, and taking a break from traditional social media can all help to overcome mental health issues. Trust me, it works. And finally, it's time to give up conventional thinking based on stereotypes and finally start acting from a moral perspective. After all, our best bet is a happy future for all who live on Earth, our common home. So that's all for us, and don't forget to wear a mask, sanitize your hands, and please keep your distance. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.